Overcrowding issues, crowded water refill lines, packed VIP areas. Is EDC Orlando in its flop era, or is it still the best bang for your buck? I'm sharing all the tea on what EDC Orlando 2024 was like in today's episode, so let's dive in. Hey guys, welcome back to Rave Culture Cast, your weekly guide to the EDM community, music festivals, and more. I am your host, Emma Capotis. It feels so good to be back, fam. We have had a very busy fall so far. I took a little break there because we were at EDC Orlando and I have so many stories and so much to share for you guys in today's episode. So if you are new, welcome to the podcast. If this is your first festival review you are ever seeing me do, you are in for a treat. These are some of my favorite episodes to film and some of yours as well, because these are usually some of my most viewed episodes. But if you're new here, this is kind of how I like to do my reviews. I'm, of course, going to share my experiences from the festival. I'm going to share my highlights and my favorite stories. I am spilling the tea on what it was like working with Insomniac Radio this year, as well as BeatBox Beverages. I'm going to be going through your festival pros and cons. I pulled you on my Instagram stories and you did not hold back, so I will be reading all of your comments that you submitted. And of course, I'm going to be sharing what can be improved with EDC Orlando, as well as addressing some of the biggest issues that we saw coming out of this year, which was overcrowding on Saturday and Sunday, packed VIP areas, long water refill lines. So I will be addressing everything. I do not just come from my own perspective, because I could have an amazing festival experience, but that doesn't paint the whole picture of what happened. I really like to tap into what's happening online, what people are saying in Facebook and Reddit, who I've talked to in person. So I've gathered a lot of opinions and we're going to be spilling all the tea today. So if you guys are ready, grab a snack, grab a drink, whether you're listening on your way to work right now. I hope you have a great day today. But before we dive in, we got to share a message from one of our friends of the podcast, Lunchbox. So I actually have a little show and tell for you guys this week. So I actually tested out the Lunchbox Lite. This was my first time using it at a 3-day festival. So I fully put it to the test. And I have to say, this was one of my favorite bags I've ever used for a festival. I honestly might be swapping this out for the hydration pack. Now, hear me out. I'm going to explain why, and I'm going to do a full review on my TikTok, so I will try to speed this up. But essentially, the Lunchbox Lite is one of their newer anti-theft bags. It has a lot of the same features that the OG does. It has zipper clips. It has inverted zippers, so you know your items are going to be safe. This is a sleeker, lighter, more compact design because it does not have the hydration component. So there is no bladder in here. There is a water bottle holder in the interior, but if you guys don't really need that component, which is kind of how I was starting to feel, which is why I wanted to use this. I'm working a lot of the weekends now, so I have easy access to water or drinks and things like that. So I was like, I just need something light. I don't want my back hurting. I'm not going to be carrying a ton. Let me try out the Lite. I'm honestly obsessed with it. I fucking loved it. It was so much lighter. My back and my shoulders did not hurt at the end of the weekend. It still packed everything I needed because it has a taller component. It's not split in half like the OG hydration pack, so you can fit like taller items. Inside the pack, you also have different zipper pockets, which I like. So I still have my stuff in here. I have my gum, my lipstick, microphones, again, interior water pocket. And then the outside, you also have a little pocket, which has a zipper clip. And I use this for like throwing my earplugs are in here. I put candy, I put chapstick. So I really liked this outside pocket as well, and the fact that it was zippered. I'll do a full in-depth review, but I just wanted to shout this out. You guys can use my code EMMAK to save $5 off the Lunchbox Lite pack or any of the smaller packs. You can use code CAPOTIS to save on any orders over $99, so that will apply to their hydration packs. Unfortunately, my codes do not work on any of the new Insomniac packs, so just keep that in mind. But shout out the Lunchbox Lite. Can't say enough good things about it. I really fucking loved it. I think it's a great option to have in addition to the hydration pack. But if you're somebody who's like, I don't really think I'm going to be needing like that much water, then I would go with the Lunchbox Lite. It also comes in white. And again, I'll leave my code EMMAK down below if you guys want to save $5 off your Lunchbox Lite pack. All right, now that is out of the way, fam, let's dive into today's episode. So I personally wanted to read through your submissions first so that we could just like get the full picture of what EDC was like in your opinions. And then I will personally share my highlights and I'll walk you through like a couple of the really big things that happened every day because there were some really, really big moments. And like I said, it's just really cool to go back to this festival. This was my 4th time doing EDC Orlando, and everyone feels so different. And I feel like I've grown so much. And if you've been here for a while, you've seen me grow, which is the coolest part. Like, I was a fan. I was just going to festivals. I was just doing this for fun. I just started my podcast because I wanted to talk about this experience and this culture with other people who were just as obsessed with it. And now to be going and literally like doing fucking interviews with Insomniac Radio. I interviewed some of my favorite artists. I took a shot with John Summit. I interviewed Galantis. Like, what the fuck is going on? So we'll get into that. And to also be with BeatBox, who I work for full time, and just have access to things I never imagined. It's just like such a growth moment, and none of it is lost on me. I feel very, very grateful for where I am at in my journey, and it's just cool to like film it all and then come spill the tea to you guys and be like, guys, what the fuck is going on? Because it still blows my mind. So anyways, so let's read your feedback first, because like I said, there were some hot topics on EDC Orlando. I will start off by saying that they definitely, I thought, you know, it was amazing, but there definitely were some things that could be improved. So let's talk highlights. There's a lot of responses, but these were your favorite things about EDC Orlando. The drone show. Could not agree more. I think the drone show is awesome. I honestly would like more drone shows, and I would love to see the drone shows at Circuit Grounds as well as at Kinetic Field. People said putting Slander at Millennium at main stage, free Red Bulls at the Shuttle Hotel at check-in. Didn't even know they did that. They opened all the lanes for entry and there was no wait to get in. They said back-to-back heaven this year, DJs I've never seen before. Could not agree more. I got to see some really special back-to-backs this year. Festival production seemed to step it up this year with drones, lights, exhibits. People said production and the layout. I like that there were several paths to get from Kinetic to Stereo Bloom. Drum and bass on main stage, period. Yes, 100%. If you caught the worship set, you know. Oasis and all the consciousness for sobriety, etc. on site, amazing. People said security was good, island noodles, and there was little to no bar lines. Production was off the charts. I liked Casa Bacardi House. Shuttles were good. I love the new setup. I liked that they opened things up a lot. This person said they liked everything. Drone show. They were selling BeatBox. Shout out. Production and set. So honestly, a lot of production. You guys were very happy with production. Somebody said the Neon Garden VIP vibes were it. They liked putting different genres of music at Circuit Grounds. The storage containers stopping the soundboard between Circuit Grounds and Stereo Bloom, which basically, to sum that up, they moved Stereo Bloom this year, and it was near, if you guys remember where Corona Electric Beach used to be, kind of like that area. It used to just have that and like art installations. They put Stereo Bloom there, but because it was so close, it was basically all the way on the other side of where Circuit Grounds is, there was sound bleed. So essentially they had to build 40-foot shipping containers in between to stop some of that sound. And I definitely think it helped, but if you were standing in the back of Stereo Bloom, this is one of my cons, you could hear Circuit Grounds. So you needed to be like more up in there to avoid that. Somebody said the will call line was opened on Thursday, clean bathrooms, staff that was 10 out of 10. I didn't have to wait more than 2 minutes to get free water. Let's see what else. Anything else new? I met the Rave Mamas, so sweet. There was a lot of great people there, a lot of plur. The lineup was fire. Production was amazing. Circuit Ground stage was fantastic, and I loved the new Stereo Bloom area. Shuttles. Okay, again, shuttles must have been really smooth. I'm really happy about that for you guys. A memorable experience. The stages were so good this year, and I love the lineup this year. It was the best in my opinion. So honestly, again, I know there's a lot of loud people online saying negative things, but really a lot of like things that stood out, and I have to agree with a lot of these as my pros as well. However, on the flip side, there were some concerns this year at EDC Orlando. So these were your responses to the biggest cons of EDC 2024. Dangerously oversold. It was so crowded and packed. I will not be returning. The shuttle drop-off was so far from the entrance. You need to have more than one water refill station for GA. It's crowded as always. Bathrooms and exits were not good. VIP at Kinetic Field and Circuit Grounds could be bigger, which is crazy because it is really big, but I agree. Overselling, not enough chill areas. They took away the art cars and Pixel Forest stuff. Yes, that is one of my biggest cons as well. I'll save my opinions for the end, but that is one of my biggest cons too. The bottlenecks just never seemed to get better. The water didn't taste good. We want more bathrooms. The sound at Neon Garden was really quiet. I actually heard somebody else say this. I don't know if it was the whole weekend because I was there one of the days and like I thought the stages were very, very loud this year, but a couple people said that. So I don't know if it got like quieter during some of the sets or something happened, but this person said redesign where the bathrooms are and how many. I went from Stereo Bloom to VIP Kinetic for the bathroom. The area between Circuit Grounds and Kinetic needs a little work. The surges, so the crowd surges in between those created intense walking paths. They need a bigger space. They're growing quickly. It was really crowded. Safety routines and crowd control. Yep. They want to change the layout. A lot of more space. Make a 30-plus-year-old section. That's amazing. I agree. They want to expand Circuit Grounds and make Neon Garden a techno and house tent again. Yes, shout out. Way too many people in VIP. They need to open multiple exit options. Bottlenecking in Circuit Grounds, overcrowding. This person said worst of the 9 EDC Orlandos I've ever been to. It was oversold and crowded, not enough art installations. Okay, so a lot of the same things. Bathroom situation, this person said it was terrible. Okay, so what I'm getting from your opinions, if we could sum it up, obviously number one is overcrowding, which we're going to talk more about that situation. And then I would say a lot of the bathrooms, it sounds like where the bathrooms were situated and how many, there need to be more and they need to be better about that. The sound at Neon Garden, not the best, and the lack of art installations. So I want to address a little bit about like my pros and cons as well before we get into highlights. So let's talk my pros for a second. So I would say could not agree with everybody. I think, and I've talked about this before, I still think EDC Orlando is one of the best bang for your bucks. The cost of this festival compared to some of other Insomniac festivals for a 3-day event, I think tickets were around like $254 for the 3 days. So I do think for the level of the lineup, the production, the stages, like I do think that is all on par. I would say like the performers and the energy, I had great interactions with people, but I was not in the most packed GA crowds. And of course, you're going to run into some situations and that is going to happen, unfortunately. But I did love the drone show. I always love that. The entrances, I went in through a staff entrance, so I did not go through the GA entrance this year, but we used a staff shuttle and that all ran very smoothly. We were dropped off pretty close to the festival, so I'm glad to hear that other people had good shuttle experiences. I do know if you came from home base, apparently they dropped you off very, very, very far from the festival and it was like not a good experience. And I think honestly they do that because they're not the Insomniac shuttles. And I feel this is a theory, this is not proved. My theory is they prioritize the Insomniac shuttles and allow those to be closer and easier drop-offs than the home base ones, because those are not like working with EDC, if you will, or associated with EDC. So not sure about that. That's just a theory. I thought the Casa Bacardi thing was really cool. That was like a new stage that is replacing Corona Electric Beach. I didn't get to go in it, but I walked by it a bunch of times and the lineup was really, really good. So that was cool. Food I ate for the most part was pretty solid. I had my BeatBox, so I was happy about that. And I loved our activation. What else? I mean, yeah, just in general, I always come back to this one because I feel like I get this amazing production and it's not that hard to navigate this festival. It's not as like overwhelming as EDC Vegas, and I was home by 1 a.m. every single night asleep, which is great. So I was not as run down coming home. And yeah, and I had an amazing experience with my team. On the flip side, to address, actually, did I hit anything else? What are my other pros? I think those are the main pros. On the flip side, though, to address some of the cons, so I would definitely say the lack of art installations. I noticed this. I did a lap of the festival on day one, and because they swapped Stereo Bloom and Casa Bacardi, I thought the areas were so empty. I walked through with my coworker and I was like, there's nothing here. This just feels so empty. So like next to Stereo Bloom, again, behind it were the stacked shipping containers to like block the sound from Circuit Grounds. And then next to it, there was an Athletic Brewing Co. activation, which is a beer, I believe. And then there were just like these like flag things. And then it was just grass That was it. There was nothing else there. That area felt so empty to me. And then there was a memory lane, which was new. And it was like a little lane that connected you over to behind Casa Bacardi. And then in that section, it was just Casa Bacardi. There was a ride. There was like the Daisy Lane, which is the little path that goes over the pond. Not much over there either. It just felt very empty. And then I don't think there was a Pixel Forest, because where Pixel Forest used to be was the shipping containers. Polygon Park was there, and some of my favorite art installations from Vegas carried over, which was really cool. But that area gets packed at night. There's a lot of like food and drink vendors in there, and there was no art cars. So I was like, things felt missing to me personally. I was just like, we need more art next year, and I do miss the art car. And Pasquale did post and like kind of addressed some of the concerns about the crowding. He did already make a statement saying they are expanding EDC Orlando next year. They're expanding the growth or like the layout of it. So I don't know what they're going to be taking over in that area, but they're saying that the festival is going to get bigger. And I feel like there is no other option than to do that, because at this point, people have caught on. This is a massive festival. I remember when it was a 2-day festival, and it has just grown and grown and grown. And Florida is a huge market for raves and festivals now. So I think they have outgrown the space given the issues this year. And yeah, I think they could improve that. Okay, I'm going to share some of the other cons, and then we'll get into like my stories and stuff like that. I was going to do this at the end, but we're already here. So, so let's talk about the crowds. So immediately upon getting to the festival on Sunday, that is when I personally noticed it. Friday, I really don't think there were any issues. It did not feel like overcrowded. It felt like a totally normal day at a festival. Saturday definitely felt more crowded at the main stage area. I was in Skydeck, which is like the bottle service, so I was not in the crowd. But I had friends who were in Kinetic VIP on Saturday, and like it was a fucking nightmare on Saturday. Apparently, it was just like absolutely packed like sardines. There were not that many trailer bathrooms in the VIP area at Kinetic, which was a mistake. There should have been way more bathrooms in there. And apparently it was just like a complete another shit show. And that was it was like Steve Aoki back-to-back Dimitri Vegas, Disco Lines back-to-back Dylan Francis, and Tiesto to end the night. So, and Eric Prydz was the 5:30 sunset set. My theory is that when they have such big artists doing sunset sets, I feel like you screw yourself up because you draw in such a big crowd early, which is fine, but then they don't leave a lot of the times, and then it's just fucking packed the whole rest of the day. So people were there for Eric Prydz, and the crowd was very packed for him at 5:30. Same thing with Sunday. Alesso was sunset at Circuit Grounds. So we tried to go over there. We tried to go into the VIP area, and it was so fucking packed. It was not enjoyable. We left after 15 minutes. We were literally behind. Like if you go all the way to the front right in VIP, I don't know if this was there last year. I wasn't there, but they added like a Skydeck bottle service situation to Circuit Grounds as well, which was not there in the past, I don't think. So basically that was blocking a huge section of VIP. So if you were behind it, you can't see shit because it's blocking your view. So we were to the right of that, behind the bars. So we weren't even near the stage. We were like all the way behind the bars. The bar lines were so long in VIP, and it was not enjoyable. So we just left because we were like, this is a fucking nightmare. And I think that also just was a shit show the whole rest of the night, because that stage was fucking Side Piece, Mau P, John Summit, who probably drew in one of the biggest crowds of the entire weekend, and having him at Circuit Grounds, not ideal. So you could just tell on Sunday that it was fucking insane. My coworkers at BeatBox, our activation was right by the entrance to VIP at Circuit Grounds, and like they literally couldn't even function after a certain hour because people were backed up all the way to the activation. They said it was fucking nuts. So yes, I think it's just like crowd placement, thinking about the artists, what stages they're on, who you can have playing at the same time, which is crazy because Illenium was the same time and Amelie Lenz as John Summit. But clearly the moment he's having, apparently the crowd at Illenium was no problem. So it's just crazy, but they do, all that is to say, they outgrew the space. They need more room. And if those big artists are going to be on Circuit Grounds, they either need another stage or something, because Vegas, it's spread out because you have 9 stages. This has 4. And then Casa Bacardi. Like, I think we need another main stage or something like that somehow. The water refills, some of you guys talked about this already, but They looked very packed in the GA area over by Main Stage and Neon Garden. Like every time I walked by, the lines were really, really long later in the night, and it did create a bottleneck like into the road because the entrance is over there. So that whole area was like a cluster at night, and it like fucking overwhelmed me even just like walking around. Drink prices are always crazy, but I think the first night I got like a double margarita and it was $30. That one killed me a little bit. Honestly, this is why I drink BeatBoxes. I mentioned the Sound Bleed already. I mentioned more art installations, the art car, the VIP area. I think they just need to figure out either a new layout or expansion. If people are going to do VIP at Circuit Grounds and Kinetic, they clearly both were very fucking crowded. And I felt for you guys because I feel like I've pitched VIP so hard for this festival because I still feel like it is so worth it at EDCO, but given how crowded the VIP areas are, I'm almost like, was it worth your money? Because you guys are packed in there like fucking sardines. So I feel bad that you spent all this money and you were packed in there. I think the rest of the weekend it was fine. It was just like those certain areas, like those certain sets that got like bottlenecky. But if you're paying all this money, they need to improve that for you. And then my last thing is Neon Garden. I want a Neon Garden redesign. Pasquale, if you're listening, team, if you're listening, I want a redesign. I miss the mega structure. There was nothing like the fucking mega structure in 2021. The mega structure in Vegas was sick. I miss it being indoors. Sorry, I said what I said. I feel like the sound is better. The production is more amazing. I love when there's like lighting and structures on like the ceiling and the lights bounce off and the lasers. I don't know. There's just something about house and techno in a fucking tent or in a mega structure. And when it's open air like it is, it's a vibe, and I get it's like a factory warehouse vibe, but I miss the mega structure. Okay, that's my plea. Please bring it back. Okay, you guys, I think that is everything I have for my pros and cons list. We'll talk some, about other things as we go through it, but I really want to talk about the positives, and I want to go through my highlights from every day, and I want to tell you about what it was like working behind the scenes because it was really, really cool. So let's dive into that now. Alrighty, fam, before we get into things a little further, if you need tickets to any of these festivals, I am selling for Dream State, which is this weekend. So if you guys need your Dream State tickets, feel free to pick them up through me. And I also have Forever Midnight as well, which is one of our New Year's Eve festivals. So if you guys want to pick up your tickets through me, I really, really appreciate it. I will leave all my affiliate tickets and my links and products and stuff that I always recommend to you guys down below in the show notes. But with that being said, let's dive back into the episode. Cool. Okay, let's talk festival highlights. So I'm going to do these like pretty quickly, but my first highlight, on Thursday, really not too much. I landed in Orlando at like 8:30, 9 p.m. And we went straight to home base. So quickly to touch on that, if you don't know the lore behind home base for me, I did home base in 2021. Really cool experience. It's essentially like a hotel party takeover in one. So the whole hotel is rented out for ravers. They do pre-parties and after parties. They have pool parties. They have a bunch of vendors on site. I think there's like brunch deals that you can do, and then they shuttle you to and from the festival. So it's really nice, like stay where you play kind of vibe. So I did that. And then in 2022, I worked with the brand Slumberland, which was another like spin-off version of home base, and that was a really amazing partnership. I loved the team with there. They obviously are direct competitors, so I love my experience working for Slumberland, but Slumberland has no plans to return. So I didn't want to stay at home base because personally, like, I'm just tired and your girl needs quiet, and it was just going to be overstimulating for me. But I did want to go because their parties are awesome, and I wanted to check it out because it was at a new hotel. It was at one of the DoubleTree Hilton hotels this year. So quick review of that. Way fucking better than it was in 2021. The hotel was so much better. We stayed in a shitty hotel. That year they fucked up the hotel situation when I went. But really nice like pre-party. I honestly didn't see too many sets. We kind of just like walked around, and I saw a little bit of I think it was like the Desert Hearts takeover, and then some of the bass acts that I don't remember. But yeah, they had a ton of vendors, which is cool. The sound system and production was crazy, and it was just fun to see friends. So overall, it did look really cool. It's just a lot of things going on. But if you guys want like afters, they had afters going to like 6 a.m. every single night. So overall, it was just a fun way to kick off the weekend. I think we went for like an hour and a half and then bounced. Okay, and then on Friday, I would say my biggest highlights. So I technically, like I said, was going with BeatBox Beverages, who I work for. We had planned really fun activities for our fans to participate in. So we planned a fan meetup. We planned a totem competition. I was shooting content with my coworkers on site for TikTok. So we went there, with like a bunch of different things. And then I also was invited back to do Insomniac Radio. This was my third time working with them, and my first EDC Orlando with them. So I was really excited. And essentially how it works is we get a schedule in advance. So I do know who I'm interviewing in advance. We can sign up for like our slots. So Friday I had a couple, Saturday I didn't have any, and then Sunday was my heaviest interview day. So on Friday I signed up for Max Styler. Never shut up about Max Styler, you guys know. He is probably my favorite house music artist at the moment. Absolutely incredible tech house act. He also had his set at sunset on Friday, which was probably like my favorite set from the night, other than Carl Cox, we'll get into. But yeah, my biggest highlight on Friday was interviewing Max. It was so nice to meet him, and it just like, those are the moments that blow my mind when I get to like sit and talk to an artist who I freaking love, and I love their music. And he was just so nice. I was like, dude, I listened to your Knockdown Center set on SoundCloud all the fucking time. And he was like, that was my favorite set of the year. So it was just like so cool to like chat with him and have that moment. And then his set was awesome. And then the best set of the night was Carl Cox back-to-back Vintage Culture. I cannot stress this fucking enough. I wish I was there the entire time. Like, I just popped back there for a little bit, and then I had to go meet up with my coworkers, but they popped all the way fucking off. It was amazing. And then my other highlight was meeting Alice in Wonderland. Guys, I met Mother, and she was as angelic as I thought she was going to be. Like, I cannot stress it enough. I did not get to interview her. Basically, I had 2 other interviews that night, and both of them never showed up, which sucked. But so I just did Max, but I hung around, and Allison and Cascade came and did their interview, and I was like, I have to tell her how much of a role model she was to me when I was pregnant. So I walked up to her, and I literally had like 60 seconds to talk to her, but I was like, girl, I'm wearing my FMU Beauty, which is her makeup line. And she was like, oh my God, I'm wearing mine too. And she gave me the biggest hug. And then I just told her, I was like, we were pregnant at the same time. And I showed her a picture of Hayden, and she was like, oh my God. And I was like, you were incredible. You were such a role model, like playing EDC pregnant. And she was like, women are fucking amazing. And she was the sweetest person ever. So I wish I had more time with her, and I hope to meet her again in the future. The FMU Beauty team has been lovely. But anyways, love Mother. She's amazing. So Friday, just so many highlights. Seeing my girl Lizzie Jane. Like, it just was fun hanging out with the Insomniac team and being back in the mix of things. Saturday highlights, I would say our meetup. Our community meetup is amazing. Meeting you in person, hearing your stories, hugging you, talking to you, like literally the best thing in the entire world. And then immediately after that, we hosted our BeatBox totem competition, which was so fun. So I think 5 groups showed up with their like custom BeatBox totems that they built, and it was so fun to see them in person. Like, that was just so cool. And we gave out like gift cards to everybody for participating. So the BeatBox fam is truly just absolutely amazing. That is my job. My job is running our ambassador program. My job is planning community events. So yeah, a lot of my followers and subscribers have come over to the BeatBox fam, which I appreciate so much. Yeah, it's obviously like what I'm pouring most of my time into now because it's my full-time job, but it's the fucking best. I literally get to go to festivals and plan dope shit for festival fans. Like, literally, how could it be a better job? Other highlights for Saturday. So funny story. I was basically Saturday, our other job was we hosted a Skydeck table, which was really cool. This was my first time doing anything like this, but essentially we bought bottle service and we got to invite over some of our fam. So I got to invite up some rave influencers who are lovely, some of our ambassadors. We invited the rave mamas, some of our team members, and it was like probably my highlight of the whole weekend. I'm not going to lie, other than radio, but just the crew and seeing like these people who have been like ride or die BeatBox fam all vibing together. My friends Shannon and Ken, who you guys probably have seen in a lot of my vlogs and things like that. At Fit to Rave is her name, and Kess Music. He is an artist. Yeah, we pretty much vibed the whole time. It was at Kinetic Field, which, you know, I'm usually not a main stage girly, okay? I like the other stages now, but it was so fucking fun. It was so many throwbacks the whole night, you guys. I'm not gonna lie. Like, we were all like, guys, I can't believe we're at a Steve Aoki set. Don't let anybody catch us at a Steve Aoki set. Because I've never cared to like watch, but honestly, the legends are legends for a reason, and now I will put my foot in my mouth. But Steve Aoki back to Dimitri Vegas was such a fucking throwback. I rarely listen to like EDM like big room, and it was so fun. Disco lines back to back, Dylan Francis, fire, absolutely loved that. And then Tiesto, you literally cannot go wrong with. He's fucking amazing. And he played a lot of his older music, like some of his trance, he threw in secrets, so I got to hear some of my favorite Tiesto tracks. So that whole like period, and of course Eric Prydz, hello. The thing with Eric Prydz though is I only got to, like, we were checking in when he started, so I got to see most of his set, but then at the very end, again, I was not supposed to be interviewing anyone on Saturday. I got a text from the Insomniac Radio team, and they were like, hey, can you come do this interview really quick? And I was like, yes, sure. I'm already half a BeatBox in, mind you. At this point, I was like, fuck. So I went and did Joseph Capriati's interview, which, like, legendary techno artist, the nicest man. He was so, like, interesting and deep and thoughtful. We had such a great, like, conversation. He was amazing, but I literally had to do research on him in like 10 minutes. So talk about stressful situations. Like, I know it seems just like, oh my God, this like glitz and glamour, like these jobs look so fun, and they are, but they are stressful as fuck, you guys. I am so nervous, and like I have so much anxiety the whole weekend. Like, I'm there, I'm having fun, but it is very hard to also be present when you know you have like these really big interviews that you can't fuck up, and you want to like leave a lasting impression, and you want, you know, the interviewer to feel like heard and seen. So anyways, so that's a little tangent, but anyways, Joseph Capriati was amazing, so that was just funny. Then I went back to Skydeck, and yeah, it was just a blast. It was just a great night overall. That was the night I wore my like MILF outfit, which you guys voted on me wearing that. I posted all my outfit options on TikTok, and I was like, help me decide what to wear, and you guys like resoundingly said to wear the MILF outfit, and I'm so glad I did. I loved it. So Saturday overall to me was so fun, and it was really a vibe, and I really had a great time. Sunday, so my last day, my biggest highlight of Sunday is all the interviews I got to do. Like, again, not even everything is out yet on Insomniac Radio, but it is never lost on me, these opportunities. And I was so nervous because I had the most of interviews on Sunday, and I interviewed, oh my gosh, Side Piece, I did Mau P again, I did John Summit, I did Galantis, I did Cosmic Gate, I did Giuseppe Ottaviani, and I think that was everyone I did on Sunday as far as I can remember. It was 2 trance acts. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was everybody I did on Sunday. And it was just incredible. And then to end, I'll get into the interviews a little bit, but to end the night, I pretty much only saw, oh gosh, somebody in the very beginning of the day. I don't even remember. I didn't really see much. And then I think it was Alesso. And then I didn't see any sets the entire night until John Summit, which was cool. And like I said, John Summit was absolutely packed. I went straight up to the front and just vibed out there because I like didn't even want to go anywhere else. It was going to be too crazy. But he played a really, really fun set, and I loved his intro that he did because he played Trip as his intro song, and that's one of my favorite tracks of his. So I really, really loved his set. It was fun. But yeah, I'll get into the interviews a little bit more just to like give you a behind the scenes of like what it's like and what my process is like and everything. If you guys are just curious what it is like working with Insomniac Radio, this is personally how I approach these opportunities and how I prepare for them. So as I mentioned, we get a schedule, which is really cool. And I sign up for, the artists that I can do. Again, I am not going there all weekend long for radio. I was going for BeatBox. So I had my BeatBox priorities first, and then I signed up for time slots that I could make essentially. So personally, how I prepare, I make a note in my notes. I have all the artists written down. They also provide like questions, and they had some fun games. We played like Truth or Dare with some of the artists, and we had these little note cards of games we could play. So I did do that with some of the artists that I thought like their personalities would fit like the games really well. Like Side Piece played a game with us. They were fun. John Summit was a sport. So yeah, I did play games with some of them. But I really just do my research on the artists, and it's very short interviews, so it's not like a podcast where I need to know their entire life story, but I just make sure like I know their recent singles, I know their genres really well, I know what stages they're playing, and then I do a scan of their social media and see if there was anything like big and relevant that they did recently that I can like talk to them on a personal level. So that's how I personally like to prepare, knowing that it's not that much time. But, again, I have to like toot my own horn and be proud of myself because this podcast has prepared me for this role. Like, I would never have been in Insomniac Radio if I didn't have Rave Culture Cast. Like, you guys, this community, this podcast landed me this job opportunity. And again, I get so nervous. You have no idea. Again, I'm so excited and I tell myself like this is excited energy, but I'm just so anxious the whole weekend. I was thinking that all weekend long. It's so funny. In Vegas, I felt the same because at EDC Vegas, I did Insomniac Radio on Sunday. So the whole weekend, like, again, I'm going to the festival and I am having fun and I'm being present, but it is not the same as when I used to go as a fan. It's not the same. Like, there's just something in the back of your mind the whole time. And I'm getting nervous thinking about it because you're just like, I don't want to fuck this up. Like, I'm going to be on camera with these really big acts that I really admire and I don't want to fuck it up. You don't want your brain to go blank. I have mom brain now. So it's not an easy job. And I think some people are like natural at it and not, but you need to be able to think on your feet. You need to be able to react to whatever kind of personality you're going to get because you've never met these people before in your life. You have no idea what they are like, if they're going to be quiet, if they're going to be one-word answers, if they're going to like be intimidating as fuck in person, and you need to know your shit about them. So you just need to be able to like be prepared and think on your feet. And I feel like I fucking crushed it. And I'm so proud of myself because I was so nervous. Basically, I'll have like my phone there and it depends. There was like 45-minute gaps in between some people. Other people like were one after the other. Like Malp and John Summit, guys, talk about putting the pressure on, were one right after the other. So I would like really quickly like look at my phone and I'd be like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I would just really quickly be like, okay, this was just came out with Murder, blah, 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 blah. Like this is what they just came out with. And I would just like get that in my brain and just try to remember and say the right thing. So yeah, I know I just went on a tangent, but that's kind of like what I do. And then I also remind myself that everybody is a normal person. And I think I don't get that nervous anymore. Very rarely do I get nervous about an artist. I just like talk to them like a normal person. I was a little nervous about John just because he's such like a big character and I've like been a fan of his for years. And then the only other people that ever really intimidated me were Diplo when he popped into the interview in Vegas and I was not prepared for that. And then Armin van Buuren, who was so nice, but he just like his aura was just intimidating. But everybody else has been amazing. So yeah, so it just keeps me on my edge, but I love it. And I just walked away from the weekend and I told my husband this. I just feel like so in my fucking element. And all of the artists afterwards were so nice. And they were like, that was such a great conversation, saying thank you so much. That went so well. And I could like hear them saying that it went really well. And then that made me happy because I was like, okay, if they're going to walk away and they're going to be like, they've done millions of interviews before. If they walk away and say this was like a great interview, then that just makes me so happy. So anyways, thank you again to Insomniac Radio for these opportunities to like literally live out my dreams because the future is very bright and there's so many things going on, but I just, when you just find your thing, like this is just my thing. And I just feel very aligned with it, even though it makes me shit my pants. I'm so nervous. But anyways, so that was that. And then I guess I'll speak to the interviews you guys want to know about, which are probably John Summit and Malp, our daddies we love. So the very last day, those were like probably the two biggest ones other than like Galantis. I was shitting my pants for Galantis because it's Galantis. The man has over like 500 million streams, if not more than 500 million streams. Are you kidding me? His one song alone has 500 million streams. It's fucking crazy how many streams this man's music has. And it's just, one of the reasons I got into EDM, like in my early years. Lovely. Could not have been a fucking nicer human being. And we just had like a great conversation and I just got to ask him about his music and his new album RX and collaborations. And yeah, that was just like a surreal moment. And then it was supposed to be Malp and then John Summit, but it flopped and it was like John Summit's coming now, like let's go. And I did both those interviews with my co-host TK, so we just like planned out how we were going to go back and forth about it. And I had seen, I don't know if you guys saw this clip, it went viral, this fan clacker moment. I had seen that morning he tweeted, if you fan clack at my set, I low-key hate you. So I was like, guys, we have to bring this up. This is amazing. And then, our boss, Daniel, was like, does anyone have a fan? Like, we got to clack our fan in the middle of the interview. And I happened to have my hand fan on me. So hopefully you guys have seen that clip. If not, check it out on my Instagram page. But essentially I asked him about it and he was like, oh yeah, I low-key fucking hate you guys if you clack at my set. And then we just started like clacking the fan. And it was just such a hilarious moment. But guys, I have to tell you the story. So I'm standing there and I'm waiting for him to come up and I'm all nervous and I'm like, oh my God, this is gonna be so cool. I'm excited to meet him, blah, blah, blah. John walks up into the set and he goes, Emma Capotis, how are you? And gives me this big hug. I almost passed out. I was like, what the fuck? He followed me on TikTok a long time ago, but I didn't think that was real. Do you know what I mean? Like, I thought that was just like, oh, he followed me. I don't know if he watches my stuff. So at the very end of the interview, we had like a great conversation and I had like a minute with him. So I got to talk to him and I was like, I can't believe you knew my name. And he was like, I followed you on TikTok for years. John, if you're watching, love you. That was just such a fun moment. He was so lovely. And I was just like, listen, I've just been watching you, supporting you on the sidelines, like love what you're doing. And I blacked out. I don't remember what else I said, but he was so nice. He was so nice. And I'm glad we all like had that moment with him. So I'm so excited about that. And then Malp is so lovely as well. He remembered our interview in Vegas. And that was really cool. So anyways, I could go on and on, but yes, it's pressure. It's exciting. It's fun. It's an amazing opportunity. The crew is so cool. Like everybody on the crew is absolutely amazing. So I think that was pretty much everything, you guys. It just was such a special weekend, and kind of like wrapping up my final thoughts. I'm just still such a big fan of this festival, and I will always find myself going back to it. I just, again, like it's not as exhausting as EDC Vegas. I just always have these amazing experiences there. I really am a big fan of the lineup, the production, the location isn't bad. I just would love to see the feedback taken seriously, because the crowd surges are scary. The overcrowding at the sets, the overcrowding in VIP when people are paying more money for VIP is just unacceptable. So they need to figure out better bathroom situations, changes to the layout, add back in some more art installations or hangout areas or art cars, like figure out the new stereo bloom like Casa Bacardi. I know that was new this year, but need to figure that out. Would love to see a new neon garden design for sure. But they've outgrown the space. We need more room. We need better crowd management, all that stuff. So hopefully we see those improvements next year, but I am still such a big fan of this festival. I'm so grateful for this experience, the people I got to interact with, the opportunities I had. Like, again, it is not lost on me. And I just like, it's just such a crazy ride. And if you told me this at 26, I would still be doing this at like 33, and I would be more in love with it and more obsessed with it. And that this is also my job. It's just like the craziest melding of the worlds. So yes, I think that's everything. Hopefully I touched on everything. The music was awesome. I did not honestly get that many sets this time other than Saturday. Saturday was like the most music I had in the whole weekend, but loved it. So thank you guys so much for listening to this week's episode. I want to hear your feedback as well. Thank you for filling out the poll, but leave comments down below if you're watching on YouTube. Let me know what your EDCO 2024 experience was like. I want you to feel heard and seen in any of the experiences that you had. If you guys are new here, I would love it if you would subscribe, rate us on Spotify, throw us some stars, whatever you guys got to do. We are at Rave Culture Cast on all of the platforms, and I am at Emma Capotis on my personal platforms. So if you want to check out my vlogs, which are pretty much all up at this point, that's over on Emma Capotis, my YouTube channel. And I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Keep spreading plur. Love you guys, and I'll see you next week with a new episode. Bye, guys.